Yes, please.
ओम अज्ञानम तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानांजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वरूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सैगण्डगुणात्मवितं तं सजीवं साधुवेतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सैगण्डलता शिवशाखावितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपेकांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कंचन गौरांगे श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Yes, Prabhuji. Start going, Prabhuji.
ठीक है बाबूजी, मैं कर देता हूँ। Hare Krishna. They have given everything to Krishna, and that is never a mistake. In his letter to Lin Ludwig, Srila Prabhupada asked, "Kindly forgive my beloved disciples for any unkindness or indiscretion on their part." After all, to give up one's life completely for serving the Lord is not an easy thing. And Maya, on the illusory materiality, tries especially hard to again entrap those who have left her service to become devotees. They have become a little detached from Maya's love or lust, and they want Krishna's love or endless, fully rewarding love. But they have not yet developed to that point. That's all. Your Grace, please accept this letter with love. K. Mart, San Fernando. We have talked with two of your boys at different times. Both had a very negative outlook toward the people they meet. Do not believe this is in any way as it should be. These boys happen to represent God. This comes from within. Their outlook must have mercy. We realize this, therefore, handpick these little pieces of heaven to place in the middle of these people, or else it will defeat your purpose. Love it, let it be as it is, with love or not at all. My prayers be with you, and I beg yours with me. Yours in God, blessed me, Lane Ludwig.
Okay.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yes, issue Prabhu.
My dear Line Ludwig, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter from California, and I have noted the contents carefully. Although due to extensively traveling and preaching in a tour in India, I have not had the opportunity to reply to you at length until now. Your complaint is that you have met two of my young disciples in California, and they appear to you to have a very negative outlook towards the people they meet. Of course, I do not know the case and what the circumstances are, but kindly forgive my beloved disciple for any unkindness or indiscretion on their part. After all, to give up one's life completely for serving the Lord is not an easy thing, and Maya, or the illusionary material energy, tries especially hard to again entrap those who have left her service to become devotee. Therefore, in order to withstand the attack of Maya and remain strong under all the conditions of temptation, young or inexperienced stage of devotional service will sometimes adopt an attitude against those things or persons which may possibly be harmful or threatening to their tender devotional creepers. They may even overindulge in such feeling just to protect themselves, and they will appear to have some appears to they will appears to have some non-devotees who are perhaps themselves enmoured by the material energy of Maya to be negative or pessimistic. Hare Krishna.
Yes, His Grace Dashavta Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. But the actual fact is that this material world is a miserable, negative place, full of danger at every step. It is the Khalam Ashashvatam, a temporary abode of death, birth, disease, and old age, a home of suffering and pain only. To come to the platform of understanding these things as they are is not very common, and therefore persons who attain to it are described as great souls. Ma upetya punarjanma dukhalam ashashvatam napnivanti mahatmana samsutte paramam kata. This means that those who have understood that the material world are place of misery and temporarily to Shashvatam never return here again because they are Mahatmana, the great souls. Krishna keeps them with him because they have qualified themselves to escape this nasty place by coming his great devotees. This verse is spoken by Krishna or God himself in the Bhagavad Gita 8.15, who can be a more final authority. The point is that to make advancement in spiritual life, one must view everything material with a pessimistic eye unless it is utilized to serve and please Krishna. We are not very much hopeful for any lasting pleasure or satisfaction for our deepest cravings within this realm of gross matter. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Kanak.
You refer to the word love several times in your letter, but the actual fact is that there is no love in this material world. That is false propaganda. What they call love here is lust only or desire for personal sense gratification. Kama esa krodha esa rajaguno samudbhava mahasanu sano mahapapna vidyayam iha varnam. Krishna tells Arjuna, his disciple, that it is lust only, which is all devouring, sinful enemy of this world. Bhagavad Gita 3.37. In the Vedic language, there is no word for materialistic love. As we call it in the present day, the word calm describes lust or material desires and not love. But the word which we find in the Vedas for actual love is prem, meaning one's love of God only. Outside of loving God, there is no possibility of loving. Rather, there is lusty desire only. Within this atmosphere of matter, the entire range of human activities, and not only every activity of human being, but all living entities, is based upon giving impetus and thus polluted by sex desire. The attraction between male and female for that sex life, the whole universe spinning around, and suffering, that is the harsh truth. So called love here means that you gratify my senses, I'll gratify your senses. And as soon as the gratification stops, immediately there is divorce, separation, quarrel, and hatred. So many things are going on under this false conception of love. Actual love means love of God, Krishna.
Everyone wants to respond. Everyone want to repose his loving tendency in some object which is in his opinion worthy. But the question is one of ignorance only, because people have a poor fund of knowledge about where to find that supreme lovable object who is actually worthy to accept and reciprocate their love. People simply do not know. There is no proper information. As soon as you have some attachment for anything material, it will kick you upon the face, deteriorate and disappoint you. It's bound to dissatisfy and frustrate you. That's a fact. But these young boys in your country and all over the world are accepting, yes, that is a fact. And they are getting the right information from Krishna. Bahu naam janma naam mante. Jnanavam Jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudevah sarvamiti. Sa mahatma sa dullabha. After many birth, who is actually why surrender unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, shloka 19. Again, Krishna uses the word Mahatma, great soul. Therefore, our devotees that you have met are not ordinary boys and girls. No, they are to be considered actually wise, great souls, because they have experienced in many births and miserable diseases of material life and have become disgusted. Therefore, they are seeking higher knowledge, they are seeking something better, and when they find Krishna and surrender unto him, they become Mahatmas who are actually situated in knowledge. This material world is just like a prison house, it is a punishing place meant to Krishna us to that point of becoming disgusted, surrendering at last to Krishna and going back to our original nature of eternal life in bliss and complete knowledge. Therefore, it is to the credit of the credit of these devotees that they have done what is Sudurlabha, very rare among all men in human society. Yes, no intro.
By surrendering to Krishna, one will find the final object in which to invest his love, God. Love of God is present in everyone, just like fire in an unlit match, but it is covered over. But if one somehow or other develops his dormant love of God, and Krishna becomes his supreme adorable object, supreme friend, supreme master, or supreme lover, then he shall never again become disappointed or unhappy. Rather, because his loving propensity is rightfully placed, Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katyantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The devotees whose life is surrendered to Krishna is always enjoying great satisfaction and bliss. And he is constantly enlightened, always positive, not negative, as you say, Bhagavad Gita 10.9. The advanced devotee is the friend of everyone. The Yoga Yukta Vishuddhatma, purified soul, engaged in loving devotional service to Krishna, is Sarva Bhutama, dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to whom? Sarva Bhutatma. Okay. In another place, Krishna claims that Yo Mad Bhakta Samya his devotee who is very dear to him, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam Metra Karuna Evacha, is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities. The devotee is supposed to be furthermore equal to everyone. Pandita Samdarshinaha, he never discriminates, saying this one is good, this one is bad. No.
Yes, issue proof.
These are descriptions of the more advanced stage of Krishna consciousness that devotee get by development of mature knowledge. At present, many of our students are young boys. They are learning gradually, and the process is so effective, certain, and authorized that if they stick to it, they will come to the right point, as you say, of loving. But that love is not material, so it should not be judged on the false, sentimental platform of ordinary mundane dealings. That is our point. Therefore, to say they are not loving may be true from the materialist point of view. They have given up the affection for family, friends, wife, country, race, and so on, which is all based upon the bodily concept of life or flickering sense gratification. They've become a little detached from Maya's love or lust, and they want Krishna's love or endless, fully rewarding love. But they have not yet developed to that point. That's all. We cannot expect that all of the sudden our countrymen who are addicted to so many bad habits will give up eating flesh, taking intoxication, having illicit sex life, and so many other nasty things, and overnight become great self-realized souls. That is not possible. That is utopian. But just being
Initiative.
initiated as Krishna devotees puts one in the topmost category of human society. So Buddhanam Mayeshu Sa Yukta Krishna Karma Kati. He is in the intelligent he is intelligent in human society. He is in the transcendental position, although engaged in sort of activities, and although such devotee may not yet advance to the highest level of spiritual understanding, still he is to be considered the most exalted personality, regardless of any temporary.
Frailties.
I guess.
Yes, His Grace, the Shabda.
Yes, अपि चेत् सुदृढाचरो भजते माम् अन्यभाक् साधुरेव मन्तव्य सम्यक् व्यवसितो हि सः. Even if a devotee commits the most abominable actions, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. Bhagavatam 9.30. As you will say to err in human, therefore in the neophyte stage we may always expect some discrepancies. Kindly see the things in this light and forget their small mistakes. The big thing is that they have given everything, even their lives to Krishna, and that is never a mistake. Wherever was Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yes, Kanak.
An awareness of what is best and most beautiful. In Rome during May of 1974, Srila Prabhupada meets Mr. Dasmon, James Bernard O'Grady, a noted Irish poet. My request to you is this: you are a poet, just describe God. You are expert in describing, and therefore I ask you to kindly describe God in your occupation. Then your life will be successful.
Okay. Prabhuji, Prabhu, Krishna. Prabhuji, आप place कर देंगे your characters.
अरे प्रभु जी, चलिए ठीक है। आप तो बन जाइए प्रभुपाद और माता जी बन जाएंगे मिस्टर ओग्रेडी।
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes.
Your edition of the Bhagavad Gita is very nice.
It is the 5th edition in 2 years.
Which country has the Hare Krishna movement been the most successful?
Everywhere in Africa, America, Canada, Japan, China, but actually it has been more successful in America. Many Americans have taken to Krishna consciousness.
What about here in Rome? Have you had problems with the police?
We have problems everywhere. Police sometimes harass us, but usually they become tired and eventually don't do anything.
The system give up? That's marvelous. I feel very tired of the system myself. Something is wrong with the present state of affairs. Maybe you can give me some advice on how to beat the system.
You Irish people, you are never tired of fighting.
No, it is inside us.
Actually, the fighting has been going on constantly.
Well, what do you suggest we do about it? I mean, as it is morally correct me to be sitting here.
As long as we remain illusioned by the bodily conception of life, thinking we are these bodies, one man thinking I'm Irish, another man thinking I'm Italian, American, Indian, and so on. As long as this goes on, the fighting will go on. You cannot stop fighting between dogs and cats. Why do they fight? The dog simply thinks I'm a big dog, and the cat thinks I'm a big cat. In the same way, if we think I'm an Irish or I'm an Englishman, then we are no better than the cats and dogs. As long as people remain in a bodily conception of life, they will be fighting.
What was Mahatma Gandhi fighting in the House of Commons?
That was another dogism. There's no difference. A dog thinks I am a dog because he has the body of a dog. If I'm thinking that I am an Indian because this body was born on Indian soil, then how I am different from the dog? The bodily conception of life is simply animalism. When we understand we are not these bodies but are spirit souls, there will be peace. There cannot be any peace otherwise. Sa eva go khara. The Vedic literature stated a person in the bodily conception of life is exactly like a cow or an ass. People have to transcend this inferior conception of life. How is that done? Mam chayo vabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samit samatityat samat ityatan brahma bhuvaya kalpate. One who engages in the spiritual activities of unalloyed devotional service at once sorry transcends the modes of material nature and is elevated to spiritual platform. In our society, there are many Mexicans, Canadians, Indians, Jews, and Muslims, but they no longer consider themselves Muslim, Christian, Jews, or whatever. They are all servants of Krishna, that is Brahman realization.
That's giving it a name also.
Yes, our name must be there. But although, for example, your name is different from that of another Irishman, you are nonetheless all feel that you are Irish. Once name may be different, but that doesn't matter. The quality should be one. That is required. When we acquire Krishna's quality, then despite different names, there will be peace. That is called Soham. The names of different people in a nation may be different, but all the people feel the same nationality. Varieties may exist, but if the quality is the same, that is oneness. Brahma Bhuta. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kangsati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhati param. Labhate param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed of every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service. And to me, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, shloka 54. This world is miserable for the materially infected person, but for the devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha. For the impersonalist, achieving the Brahman stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word.
Is the absolute external or internal?
There is no external or internal. The Absolute is without duality.
Okay, but on an individual level.
We are not absolute. When we are situated on the absolute platform, we are absolute. However, we are in the relative world. The absolute truth is here also, but our senses are not sufficiently elevated to understand that absolute truth. As long as we are under the control of time, there is no question of becoming absolute.
Mataji,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. I think now Ishu and Dashavatar Prabhu can read from here.
Yes.
So Dashavatar Prabhu can be Prabhupada, and you can play Mr. O'Grady.
Yes, Prabhuji, no problem. So, who is O'Grady and who is Srila Prabhupada? Sorry, Prabhuji.
You are Prabhupada.
Okay. Okay, so it's my turn.
Ishu Prabhu is Mr.
Okay.
O'Grady. So to start.
Yeah, Ishu Prabhu, please.
So absolute means beyond, absolute life means beyond time.
That is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvata taktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so arjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode Arjuna. This is absolute. Going back home, back to Godhead, as long as one is in this material world and identifies with his body, he transmigrates from one body to another. That is not absolute. That is clearly stated here. When one goes back to the spiritual world, he attains the absolute position.
All right. But this is my question. Is it sufficient for us to sit here, you sitting there, and we as a friend sitting with you, engaging in the gentle art?
The point you have missed is that although you are sitting in one place and I am sitting in a different place, the difference does not affect our actual existence. We are both human beings. The conception of Irishman, Englishman, Protestant, Catholic, and so on are but different races. One has to become free from these designations. When one is thus free, he becomes purified. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam तत्परत्वेन निर्मलम् ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश सेवनं भक्तिरुच्यते. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.12. When you have purified your senses and engaged those purified senses in the service of the master of the senses, Krishna, you have perfected your life. This is non-duality. That is non-duality and that is absolute.
But the system insists that you think yourself American or Indian or African or whatever.
Yes, materialistic society means duality.
But that is unavoidable. How can you avoid material existence?
That is possible in Krishna consciousness. The lotus lives in the water but never touches the water.
I don't think you can explain situation in one area with metaphors from another. How can you argue political problems in terms of vague spiritual concept? Their nature is completely different.
Sometimes a variety of examples help us to understand or appreciate the problem better. But in the base, there is a variety of flowers and That variety helps us better appreciate the ideas of Lord. From any point of view, Krishna can resolve all problems. Why is this a problem of Irishman or Englishman? All problems. That is called unity in diversity. Our students come from different backgrounds, but because they are all in Krishna consciousness, they are unified.
Very good. Yes, I accept that. I would like to know, though, that when you ask Krishna consciousness, is there any difference between that and Christ consciousness?
No, there is no difference. Christ came to preach the message of God. If you actually become Christ conscious, you become, you can scroll up and wait for you. Where we were reading, difference between, you become Krishna conscious. Yeah, if you
And
actually
does
become Christ conscious, you become Krishna conscious.
becoming Krishna consciousness or Krishna conscious or God conscious means becoming self-conscious? That is conscious who Prabhu miss ho gaya. Who we
Yes, God consciousness includes self consciousness, but self consciousness is not necessarily God consciousness.
but it may be.
No.
Okay, Prabhuji, I think, Kanak Mataji and Prabhuji, Udit Prabhuji, this time Kanak Mataji can be Srila Prabhupada and you can do Mr. O'Grady.
Yeah, Prabhuji, it's
Okay.
8:26. Prabhuji, should we continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, let's read for 4 minutes and if there are any questions, can take it. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes. Kanak.
No,
Hmm. One may achieve consciousness of the God that is within.
that means he is God conscious. You are now in the sunlight, and consciousness of the sun includes your ability to see yourself. In the darkness, you cannot see yourself. At night, you can't even see your own hands or legs. But if you come before the sun, you see the sun and yourself also. Without sunlight, without God consciousness, self consciousness is incomplete. However, God consciousness makes self consciousness very clear.
We meet a lot of young people in our teaching profession, and we don't try to teach them any kind of didactic salvation. We do try to direct them towards an awareness of what is best and what is most beautiful and what is most picturally nourishing in the world about them. That is, in so far as the system allows us, very frequently the students are not enough to be in spiritual condition. They're more in an emotional one. What we are faced with often is a basic question, who am I, or what it is all about.
Yes,
Or they ask, why am I here?
yes, very good.
We are asked, why should I be here? Who are you, teacher? What gives you the right to tell us what to think or what to be or what to be or what not to be? Why should I read Shakespeare? Why should I listen to Mozart? I prefer Bob Dylan. These kinds of questions seems to be emanate from a very delusional state of mind and insecurity and uncertainty and lack of credibility in the total structure of things as they are. Frequently, we have to answer these questions in a cataclysmic sort of way. Rather than presenting direct answers, we must answer indirectly, taking account of conditioning that prompted students to ask these questions in the first place. Do you think that we should try to reach them more directly?
You're talking about the problem of?
Modern education.
Yes, so many questions are there, but they are not answered by modern education. Why I have come here? What is the purpose? These questions should be answered perfectly. Therefore, Vedas enjoin. Tad Vigyanatham sa Guru eva bikache. To find answers to all those questions, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master.
What if you have none? What if you are told that Mr. Nixon is a bona fide spiritual master? What do we do?
No, no, no. There is a standard for bona fide spiritual master. You have only heard one line of the verse. Who is the spiritual master? That is the next line. Shrotyam Brahmanashtam. The word Shrotyam refers to one who has heard from another bona fide source. A spiritual master is he who has taken up the message from another qualified spiritual master. This is just like a medical man who has taken the knowledge of medical science from another medical man. Similarly, the modified spiritual master must come in a line of successive spiritual masters. The original spiritual master is God.
Yes, granted.
Prabhuji, we can stop here
Okay, Prabhuji.
and we can take reflections or questions, comments.
Yes. Anyone want to share something?
Prabhuji, I just have a question. Like हमने एक जगह पढ़ा था कि प्रभुपाद से पूछा था कि भगवत गीता के बारे में, तो प्रभुपाद ने बताया था कि दिस इज अवर 5th एडिशन. ओके, तो ये जो भी एडिशंस है, तो उनमें कुछ चेंजेस है कि कैसे, मतलब एडिशंस का यहाँ पे मतलब है प्रभुजी?
So sometime Prabhuji addition मतलब अगर ये mental expectation करेक्टिव होते हैं, ग्रामर करेक्शन होते हैं, कुछ लैंग्वेज करेक्शन होते हैं, एक एडिशन तब भी हो सकता है. दूसरा ये भी हो सकता है कि फर्स्ट टाइम पब्लिश हुए 1000 वॉल्यूम्स लेट से, फिर सेकंड टाइम पब्लिश हुए, तो उस तरह से भी हो सकता है.
ओके, ठीक है.
Okay, I think it was very straightforward discussion. I enjoyed. Thank you everyone for playing the role.
Thank you.
All right, we can stop here. Vanche kalpatarubhasya kripa patitanam pavnyo vaishnavayo namo namah. And hopefully Ashwin Prabhuji will join from Sunday. We are really missing his association and guidance.
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right,
Definitely.
cool.
Thank you.
I think he joined from Monday, not Sunday. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Hare
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.